This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Midnight on your lips, I can taste the doubt. You say you're in control, but you're fading out. Velvet in my voice, let it pull you in. You don't have to fight, you can just give in. There's a rhythm in the dark, you don't question now. Feel it in your chest when I slow it down. Every little thought starts to drift away. You don't need to think, just do what I say. Ooh, close your eyes, stay right here, let it wash, disappear. You don't need to understand, you just feel it in your
Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, I think we already know this, but we'll establish it one more time. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as we are hanging out, doing all of our stuff. No doubt about that. Hanging out, taking a look around at everything that is happening inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's just kind of what we do around here. No doubt about that. So how are things been for you? How have you been keeping up? How have you been looking at the move and the groove of stuff? No, like seriously. So a lot of stuff going on as we are speaking. A lot of stuff going on to do some things. Yeah, that's for sure. So our show consists of safety of the news and safety. That's just kind of what we do around here. If you want to interact with the show, it's an easy process on doing so. Even though I have not mentioned that today is March the 25th, which is a Thursday of 2026, almost at 2025. So there you go. And we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM and hanging out with these people.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Yep, that's how it goes. That's how we move. That's how we groove. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, and that is pretty much the whole conundrum, the whole caboodle. So, as we're going to go down the path today, I have a plethora of things to talk about because that's just how it goes around here. Sometimes I go, man, there is so much information to share in such little time to do so. But don't worry, because I'm going to take you down the ride for us to do everything that needs to be done as we are hanging out on this lovely Thursday. Now, here's the gig. As I go through everything, I would still like for you to interact with what the hell we have going on with the show. And all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. Once you get there, it's going to give you some options. It's going to be audio, video, and text messaging. That's audio, video, and text messaging are the options that it's going to give you to be able to do some of these things. But don't worry, because we'll make sure that everything's taken care of as you come through and do the process. That's just how we do the thing. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? I have my friends hanging out from Feature Story News wanting to talk about what the hell's going on, because why would you not want to do that, of course? So if you're good to do this, I'm good to do this. I'll bring them in. We'll start talking. We'll start grooving. We'll get the maneuvering going of what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse, and we'll get that hanging and moving and banging and everything that needs to be done at this particular moment. So if you're ready for word salad, we can do that right now as we are speaking. So let's get moving.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Hong Kong, I'm Laura Westbrook. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says the Strait of Hormuz is open for friendly nations such as India, China and Russia. It comes as New Delhi has been working diplomatic channels to get its fuel tankers to cross the strait, while the government is working on managing a shortage of cooking gas in the country. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
Though India-Iran ties have been lukewarm in recent years, New Delhi says it's been working with Tehran to get Indian tankers out of the Strait of Hormuz. Roughly 90% of India's cooking gas supply passes through this route, and its partial blockade has led New Delhi to invoke emergency measures to manage its gas stockpile. New Delhi says there's no blanket arrangement under which Indian-flagged carriers are allowed to cross the Gulf, but 4 tankers have been allowed access since the war began. Despite Iran's signals, New Delhi says it is working on diversifying its gas procurement and has warned the public that further disruptions are possible if the war drags on. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
At least 12 people have been killed after a bus collided with a lorry in India and caught fire. Police say around 20 people have been taken to hospital following the incident in southern India. Rebecca Bundan has more.
The collision between a private bus and a lorry took place on Thursday morning local time in the Markapuram district of the state of Andhra Pradesh. Police say efforts are underway to gather information on the crash, with many people reported to have been badly injured after the bus caught fire. Officials have expressed concerns that the death toll could rise. Road accidents take place all too frequently in India, with more than 172,000 people losing their lives on Indian roads in 2023, resulting in calls to improve safety standards. Rebecca Bundan, Mumbai.
Airports in the United States are experiencing the highest wait times in history, according to the acting head of the Transportation Security Administration. To try to address the airport lines, President Trump has reassigned immigration and customs enforcement officers to support the TSA. Kate Fisher reports.
TSA's acting administrator told lawmakers on Wednesday the situation is unprecedented and unacceptable. In a bid to ease the strain, the Trump administration has reassigned immigration and enforcement officers to support the TSA at 14 airports across the country. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
For all of the critics of this solution a few days ago when it was proposed by the president, it is yielding results. Wait times have improved since ICE arrived, and they are doing everything in their power to help their fellow federal service members.
But the lines remain at several airports as Democrats and Republicans stay at stalemate. Kate Fisher, Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, a voice from inside Iran supportive of the country's ruling clerical regime, at a point where the Iranian government is exuding a degree of confidence about its current position, even as it's facing a 4th week of US and Israeli bombardment. Its leaders are accusing President Trump of negotiating with himself and vowed never to come to terms with him. President Trump maintains that in discussions since last weekend, the Iranians have seemed desperate for a deal. Professor Mohammad Marandi at the University of Tehran says that is not the case.
Iran has rejected this 15-point plan because it violates Iranian sovereignty. And that's what the revolution in 1979 was all about. It was about sovereignty and independence, and it was anti-imperialist. And that's why the United States and its allies and proxies hate Iran so much. Iran opposes genocide in Gaza, and that's a sin. You must support genocide in Gaza. But no, Iran is not going to accept anything that will impact Iran's sovereignty.
The professor is a staunch defender of the Iranian government in a country where, of course, millions of people have taken to the streets in recent months demanding democratic change. But for now, the regime itself appears to remain cemented in position. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. US President Donald Trump claims Iran wants to make a deal, but Tehran says it can keep defending itself and it has no intention of negotiating. The White House confirms the highly anticipated summit between US President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping will take place in May. A Los Angeles jury finds Meta and YouTube liable for negligence. A jury says they design addictive apps. And that's the latest feature story news. Laura Westbrook reporting.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and 1 consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' Best Life Insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, Since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Oh, yes. There's too many yeses going on right there is definitely what it sounds like as we are hanging out. Okay, so let's start talking right away about some things that are going on inside of the world, because that is kind of what we do around here. We talk a little bit about this, we talk a little bit about that, and then we go on with what is happening. So where do we want to start here? Let's go ahead and just start off with I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. If you want to call in for this one, it's perfectly fine, but I want your opinion of something. So Charles Barkley jumped on the Dan Patrick Show and turned a harmless March Madness chat into a full-blown kids these days sermon. It started with the basketball complaining about modern athletes, uncoachable, because coaches can't even yell at them anymore. But then Barkley did what Barkley does best, took a hard left turn and hitting parenting like a runway truck is what he ended up doing. No, I'm being serious. He said, yes, you can yell at your kid. And yeah, he still believes in spanking as discipline, not abuse. He made that clear. But in his mind, without some kind of fear of consequences, kids grow up spoiled and out of control. His logic, you can't reason with kids because they don't know any better. But they do understand consequences. And just in case anyone on the internet was warming up to their outrage engines, Barkley beat them to it. He said he doesn't read comments, doesn't care about social media, and if people don't like it, well, they can take that opinion and file it straight into the trash. So, take a listen to what he had to say.
I think if you don't spank your kids and discipline them, they turn into some of these brats that we got today. I'm not here for child abuse, but how are kids gonna know they're doing something wrong? First of all, you can't rationalize with kids. They're dumber than rocks. I don't ever read any comments. I don't care what you think.
So that's what he had to say. So let me ask you this. Do you agree with Charles Barkley? What are your thoughts on parents spanking their kids? Go to callinradio.com. Would love to hear what you have to say. Audio, video, and text messaging are the options once you get there. Like I say, from time to time, controversy creates cash. And I think that sure as shit, he did create some controversy right there.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so do we want to continue to strange for a bit or do something else? Let's do this. Let's just go the strange way. Welcome to the modern dating. Are you still in the dating pool and all that kind of fun stuff? Luckily, and I will say luckily, I am not in the dating pool. I have been granted some great things in life, and yes, being in the dating pool currently is not one of them, and that is good with me. It's been that way for at least over a decade. Well, yeah, over a decade at this point. Okay, so welcome to modern dating, where one wrong emoji can tank your chances faster than saying, my ex used to love this place. Yeah, probably not a good idea to say. So here's the deal. Emojis aren't banned. They're just dangerous. NYPC, listen to the NYC therapist, Lauren Tenbum, says that timing and tone matters. Early on, keep it light and don't go overboard. Most people would rather meet in person anyways. Nobody's looking for a long-distance pen pal with emojis doing all the talking where people screw this up. Overusing dramatic emojis, looking at you, laugh, cry face. If it wasn't that funny, relax. Jumping straight to sexual emojis, that's not flirting. That's digital catcalling, if you kind of think about it. And the usual suspects, eggplants, water droplets, flame, are basically instant no thanks. And then the innocent ones are like thumbs up can come off as lazy. And some daters say that it feels like the conversational equivalent of a shrug. Matchmaker Bonnie Winston sums up it with the emojis are fine, but not substitute for actual words. If your message looks like a slot machine hit a jackpot, you're doing it wrong. So there you go. What do you think? I don't know. I think it's weird. I mean, it's like lingo of the bingo. You have to learn so many different things nowadays just to be able to get things to work, if you know what I'm saying there. So let's talk about this because
it is time to do so.
A checkout line in Walmart turned into a low-budget episode of Keeping Up with the Cash App. One shopper got called broke by another customer, and instead of letting it slide, she went full courtroom Exhibit A, marching up to the camera and flashing her bank balance like winning a lottery ticket. The reveal? Just over $6,500 sitting in her account. She kept asking, "Am I broke?" While the person filming hyped her up. Meanwhile, the original accuser kept chirping about leaving her stuff behind and not paying. The internet saw the video and basically said, "Ma'am, relax." Some people pointed out that they wouldn't feel they need to prove anything to a stranger. Other roasted the flex, calling her a thousandaire. But the plot twist, a lot of folks admitted $6,500 would actually be a big deal for them, considering a huge chunk of Americans can't even cover $1,000 surprise expense. So, nothing says I'm rich like opening your banking app in public like Instagram. $6,500, that's not a flex, that's a decent car repair. So, take a listen to the audio from the incident.
Let me see. Am I broke? Hell no, she ain't broke. I need a...
She got $1 million. But she leaving out here with nothing.
Ooh.
I'm broke. You see my money, right?
Let me see. Oh, hell no, she ain't broke. She rich.
Hell no, she ain't broke. She's rich. $6,500 puts you there. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. So flexing $6,500 in 2026 is like flexing a full tank of gas. Respect, but also fragile. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking. Let me give you this one because it was kind of interesting to see as we were talking. A squirrel in London has basically went full team behind the gym after it was caught chewing a one discarded vape in Brixton Park. The video made the rounds, and apparently it isn't a one-off. There are multiple cases in the U.S. and the UK of squirrels messing around with tossed vapes. Experts say that fruity flavors are likely the hook because nothing says terrible life choices like raspberry blast nicotine. And it's not just nicotine that's the problem. These things are packed with chemicals and microplastics, which animals definitely didn't evolve to snack on them. The RSPCA stepped in with the obvious reminder, stop trashing your vapes like you're the last human on Earth, because now wildlife is here unknowingly picking up your habits and your garbage. So somewhere there's a raccoon saying, "Bro, try the mango ice." Or,
"Bro, try the mango ice."
So you get it. I mean, you get it. I know it's not something to really joke about, but man, what a weird time we live in when some of these things start making it as news stories of things that we need to talk about. I know. It gets kind of strange from time to time as we are talking. Okay, so let's get into some of the more serious stuff, if you don't mind. President Trump is stacking the deck in the troops and near Iran after talks basically went off the rails. The Pentagon is moving 7,000 troops into position, including the paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne Division, linking up with thousands of Marines already heading to the region. Trump floated a 15-point peace plan modeled with Gaza's framework, telling Iran to ditch nukes, scrap the long-range missiles, stop backing proxy fighters, and keep the strait open. Iran looked at the list and basically said, yeah, no. Instead, Tehran fired back with its own wish list: shut down the U.S. bases in the Gulf, pay reparations, stop Israeli strikes, and hand them control to the strait so they can start charging tolls like the Suez Canals. That idea went over about as well as you expect, or as like some people would say, as a fart in church. So inside the Trump circle, the tone is blunt. Deal is still on the table, but they've clenched their fists for next to it. So we'll see what ends up happening here. It's pretty interesting when it's all said and done as we are hanging out. Okay, take a listen to this one real quick. The Center of Disease Control and Prevention is sounding the alarm on dengue fever, also the breakbone fever, as more U.S. travelers are coming home with the infection. The agency says that there's been a higher than expected spike in cases tied to travel in multiple countries, including parts of Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So far this year, nearly 500 cases have been reported in the U.S., most of them caught abroad. Dengue spreads by mosquito bites, and about 1 in 4 infected people actually get sick. Symptoms can feel brutal. Fever, nausea, rash, and intense joint and muscle pain, hence the nickname. Most cases are mild, but serve as dengue can turn dangerous fast, with risks like internal bleeding and severe abdominal pain, especially for people who have had it before. Health officials are urging travelers to be cautious and take mosquito protection serious because this isn't the average vacation souvenir that you want to take with you. That is for sure. So what a weird time. I will tell you that I travel quite often, let me rephrase that. I used to travel quite often. I still travel, but just not as often as I used to. And there has been some places that I've been to that I've been amazed on the amount of mosquitoes that are there. And if you're not paying close attention, you can be chewed up relatively quick. It's what it boils down to. So it's interesting to see exactly what happens. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. Okay, so take a listen to this real quick because this is definitely going to be something. Forecasters say that 2026 hurricane season might not be crazy busy, but don't get comfortable. AccuWeather predicts 11 to 16 named storms, with 4 to 7 becoming hurricanes and up to 5 potential hitting the U.S. coastlines. That's around the average or slightly below. But here's the catch. Yeah, the catch, of course. Even quieter season can still deliver major damage. Experts warn that it only takes one storm to wreck a year. They especially concerned about homegrown storms, systems that form close to the U.S. in the Gulf or in the East Coast. Those can spin up faster, giving people less than 48 hours to prepare. On the flip side, El Nino could help limit overall storms activity by disrupting hurricane formation, and still agencies like the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, are warning people to not let their guard down, especially in states along the Gulf in the southeast. So there you go, some things to think about as we are talking. So what do you think here? That's a pretty interesting thing. I mean, I don't know. I look at it and I always am constantly concerned about some of the stuff that is going on in regards of when it comes to the weather, especially living in Florida. When it comes to this time of the year, it always becomes pretty interesting when it's all said and done. So what do you think about it? What do you think when it's going through? So let's talk about this real quick. Savannah Guthrie is finally speaking publicly about her mom's disappearance in a sit-down with Hoda airing over 2 days on Today's Show. Guthrie breaks down, pleading for whoever knows something to step up. She didn't dance around it. She said that her family is in agony, waking up in the middle of the night, imagining what her mom may have gone through. Hoda said that in the interview was emotional, but also pointed out something else. Guthrie isn't just grieving. She's locked in. There's a mix of depression and determination, hoping that someone out there finally cracks and says something. Guthrie was already visited the Today set and told the staff that she plans to come back. She just doesn't know how yet. She thanked her co-workers, calling them family, which she tells you how much it has shaken her. Her family is still pushing for hard answers, especially from the Tucson community, begging people to check anything: security footage, texts, random memories. Her mom, Nancy, vanished back on January the 31st in Tucson. Authorities believe that she was kidnapped overnight, and the full interview airs today and tomorrow. Take a listen to this.
Someone needs to do the right thing. We are in agony.
Yeah.
We are in agony. It is unbearable. And to think of what she went through. I wake up every night, in the middle of the night, every night, and in the darkness, I imagine her terror. And it is unthinkable, but those thoughts demand to be thought, and I will not hide my face. That she needs to come home now.
Yes.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, just even thinking about this, and of course, you being somebody who's on national media and having to talk about this, and you being involved with some of the stuff that's going on, I can't even fathom on what the family must be going through in regards to that. So I don't even know what to say here. Okay, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on. Russia is reportedly inching closer to giving Iran more than a pat on the back. According to the Western intel, Russia has already been feeding Iran satellite imagery, targeting data and intel of ongoing fight with the U.S. and Israel, and now may be ready to send actual combat drones, plus food and medicine. Moscow says that fake news on the military help, but openly admits that it's shipping humanitarian aid. Meanwhile, Vladimir Zelensky is accusing Russia of playing a straight-up mob boss move, already offering to stop helping Iran if the U.S. cuts off intelligence to Ukraine. He calling it blackmail. Well, I don't know if you should call it blackmail because it
sure as shit sounds like blackmail.
And says that Ukraine has proof that Russia is still feeding Iran intel, and even claiming that some drones are hitting the U.S. allies to contain Russia's parts. So there you go. Some stuff to think about as we are talking. What do you think here? Always an interesting time as we are talking. So there you go. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this and get into this thing that I enjoy calling our main story. And let's get into it and start talking about what the hell is going on. And I hope you're ready because we're definitely going to go down some memory lane here. So let's get into the main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so if you're older, you might get this. If you are younger, you might not. But let's go ahead and take a trip back to the mid-1990s. And I want to talk about professional wrestling. Yes, professional wrestling. Especially, I want to talk about a guy that I really admire by the name of Eric Bischoff. And yes, in the 90s, Vince McMahon and the WWE completely owned the wrestling industry. They had a monopoly on the culture, the merchandise, and the television ratings. Their product was predictable, formulaic, and deeply entrenched in tradition. Then Eric Bischoff takes the reins of a rival promotion called World Championship Wrestling, or WCW. Bischoff looks at the landscape and realizes it's something fundamental. You cannot beat an entrenched monopoly by playing by their rules. If you try to go out there and you try to out-tradition the traditionalists, you will bleed to death. You have to burn the rule book. You have to disrupt the psychology of the audience. So he adopts a new philosophy. He later wrote a book entitled it, the book was Controversy Creates Cash. I think you've heard me talk about that book several times. But controversy creates cash. Bischoff weaponized on the unpredictability. He took Hulk Hogan, the ultimate red and yellow, eat your vitamins and say your prayers American hero, and turned him into a villain. He formed the NWO, which is known as the New World Order, and he started giving away the WWE match results on live television. He broke the fourth wall. He blurred the lines between reality and the script and completely thrashed the established order of the industry. It was absolute chaos. It was offensive to the purists, and it worked brilliantly. Bischoff controversies generated massive, unprecedented amounts of cash. For 83 consecutive weeks, WCW beat WWE in the Monday Night Wars. He revolutionized the business of professional wrestling forever. Now, Why in the hell am I talking about the 1990s professional wrestling on a safety broadcast, as one might say? Because over the last decade, the safety industry has been running Eric Bischoff's exact same playbook. And we need to have a very raw, very honest conversation about where this is heading. For decades, the safety profession was just like the early 90s WWE. It was boring. It was predictable, and it was built on the foundation of the dusty VHS training tapes, compliance checklists, 3-ring binders, and rigid hierarchy. It was a stagnant echo chamber of
Zero harm,
goals and behavior-based safety observations that ultimately just blamed the worker for everything. Then the disruptor arrived. A new wave of safety professional consultants and keynote speakers looked at the massive, entrenched, boring monopoly and realized they could not make a name for themselves by playing the same old rules. So they adopted the controversy creates cash model. They really did. They became the NWO of the safety industry. They got up and on a conference stage and started dropping bombs. They looked right into the camera and said, Hendricks Triangle is a complete lie. And they declared that behavior-based safety is a scam designed to protect management. They yelled that OSHA compliance does not equal safety. They broke the fourth wall of the corporate safety theater, and they went viral on LinkedIn, and they created massive controversy. And just like Eric Bischoff, the controversy created cash. It generated massive consulting fees. It sold thousands of books. It built entire consulting empires and branded mythologies.
Duh.
Companies were paying tens of thousands of dollars to bring these, let's say, contrarians into their boardrooms just to be told everything everyone had been doing for the last 30 years was garbage. Now, let me be very clear here. I'm not taking away from these disruptors' accomplishments because that would just be bullshit. Just like Bischoff Shock's tactics revolutionized wrestling business for the better, the controversy in safety industry was absolutely necessary. The system needed a shock to the heart because it really did. And we needed someone to flip the table and force us to look at human and organizational performance. We needed the paradigm shift. We had to stop realizing or relying on lazy bureaucratic garbage and start looking at how systems drive human error. The revolution worked and it changed the vocabulary in the industry. But here's the rated R reality check. This is the part of the story that the high-paid consultants do not want to talk about. If you know your wrestling history, you know that WCW story ends, and it didn't last. The company eventually collapsed under the weight of its own chaos. The hemorrhage of money, the storylines became incoherent, and eventually the entire organization was bought out by Vince McMahon for pennies on the dollar. Why did it fail? Because controversy is a spark. It is not a foundation. Once the initial shock value wore off, WCW did not have an operation stability to keep the company alive. They knew how to disrupt the system, but they didn't know how to build a sustainable one to replace it. They became so addicted to the controversy, the ratings, and the cash that they forgot they actually had to put on a solid functioning wrestling show every single week. Look at the safety industry today. Are we making the exact same fatal mistakes? We have an entire generation of safety practitioners whose entire profession identity is built on being anti-establishment, the rebel. They are brilliant at tearing down the old legacy systems. They are incredible at posting viral hot takes about the tradition of safety and how it's broken. But what happens when the applause stops? What happens when the shock value wears off? You cannot sustain an organizational culture on hot takes and controversy. No, seriously, you really can't.
Duh.
You can tear down a bad policy in a boardroom, but at the end of the day, you still have a massive kinetic physical environment to manage. You still have to figure out how to keep 5,000-pound piece of steel from crushing a human being on the third shift. If your entire strategy is just pointing out on how broken the matrix is, you are going to burn out, and people relying on you are going to get hurt. Controversy gets you in the door. It gets you the budget. It gets you the final list, the finally to listen to you, or at least people to listen to you. But does it do the heavy lifting? That's the question, because it doesn't do the heavy lifting. If you are a safety professional or a consultant or a leader, or you have to take a look in the mirror and ask yourself the brutal question: are you actually building physical, sustainable defense for people doing the dangerous work, or are you making noise to sell your brand? Be revolutionary. Disrupt the toxic system for sure. Tear up the old broken rule books, but do not let the controversy become your only product. When the dust settles and the consultants fly back home and the physical hazards are still sitting right there on the concrete, the people out there don't need another controversial hot take. They need operational environment that doesn't actively try to kill them. Use the controversy to break the lock. But once the door is open, you have to build something real to replace what you burned down. So let's kind of bring this to an end. Let's look at your own approach. Look at the voices you follow, the books you read, and the advice that you are implementing. Separate the noise from substance. It is easy to point the finger at the broken systems and generate a lot of heat. That's wrestling talk. It takes actual grinding, unglamorous work to put the pieces back together. Stop worrying about the controversy and start worrying about the concrete. Keep your head on a swivel out there, and don't let the noise distract you from the actual mission, because that's going to be the portion that matters in the long run. Think about that.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
You ever hit the wall, burnout, stressed, or just feeling that everything is piling up and thought, yeah, I probably need to talk to someone? The problem is finding the therapist who actually takes your insurance feels impossible at times. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes mental health care easy to access and actually affordable. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, so the average copay is about $15 a session, sometimes even less. With Rula, you get matched with the right therapist for you, not just whoever's available. Their network has over 15,000 licensed professionals, and you can book an appointment as soon as tomorrow. No wait list, no frustrations, just therapy that works with your schedule and your insurance. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that actually covered by insurance. Visit Rula.com/safetyfm to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you there. That's RULA.com/safetyfm. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. Go to Rula.com/safetyfm right now to get started. That's RULA.com/safetyfm, because you deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now. wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio.
Don't say it out loud, just let it go. When I pull you close, when I take control, you already know. Follow it down, don't look around.
Okay, 45 minutes past the top of the hour as we are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Doing all the fun stuff we get to do. So, this right here that you hear playing, this one's called Velvet in Your Veins. Now, you're going to say, didn't you play this yesterday? Yeah, I played a different version of it.
Every word I say makes you wanna stay. There's a current in the way.
So, here's the newest version, of course, because that's kind of what we do. A lot of stuff. So what do you think? Yeah, I just sit around and create random music because you already know. Okay, so let's get you moving and grooving and what is going on inside of the world here. And let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And we want you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see all kinds of information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, and trauma, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To write love on her arms. So there you go. What's today? Today is Thursday. Yeah, where is the week gone? So let's talk about this real quick. If you are not aware, we are just days away from the event taking place in Santa Fe, New Mexico, the Conklin Workshop, happening at Hotel Santa Fe, March 31st through April the 1st. That means it's starting Tuesday of next week. We're going to be hanging out with Todd Conklin, Brett Sutton, Ann Liren, and Redonda Voigt. We're going to be doing an investigation, taking a look at how you do an investigation about an event that happened to Redonda Voigt, and then we'll kind of go through the whole process by using some skill sets and some technology built by Brett Sutton, and then we'll have Ann Liren there hosting the event, and then we will be looking at the stuff through the lens of HOP. So it'll be quite an interesting time as we are doing our stuff. All you have to do to find out more information is go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says, you ready for this? It says live events. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. So if you can't not make it to that event, because I know that it's next week, we have another event that's coming up right around the corner. Well, not really around the corner, but it's in July. We would love to see you there. The event is taking place in Orlando, July the 13th to be exact, and we'll be doing this one at a movie theater, quite a different setting than what we normally do because we normally do these at hotels or convention halls. This one will be inside of a movie theater. We'll be hanging out with Nick Weatherly, and he'll be talking about behavior-based safety. We'll be hanging out with Todd Conklin as he discusses human and organizational performance, and I will be there talking about signal theory. So would love to see you there. And then we'll have a documentary / movie that we'll play throughout there because we're in a movie theater. Why would we not take advantage of that? Be able to take a look around and doing that. To find out more information about this event, which is taking place on Monday, people are going, why is it on a Monday? Well, this way you have the opportunity of hanging out in good old Orlando over the weekend if you want to do that. But if you want to know more information about this event, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.io. Don't go to the .com. Go to safetyfm.io. And that will give you information of what exactly is going on for this event. Like I said, July the 13th, happening in Orlando, Florida. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, I have my friend John Small waiting inside of the wings there, wanting to talk about the Motivation Minute. So if you're good, I'm good. Let's get it moving right now.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Vonda. Jane Goodall said, "What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make." That is so true. Think about it like this. Every decision is a crossroads. You could go straight, you could turn right, you could turn left, or you could turn around. Each direction leads to a different place, but other decisions along the way might lead you back to the same destination, but with a different path to get there. I know people in my life who turned one way while I turned the other way. Then years later, our paths crossed again. In life, it's okay to take a different path sometimes. Just make sure you know your destination. Then think through your decisions to see, will this take me closer to my desired destination or further away? If you know that and you make decisions based on that, eventually you'll get there.
The Motivation Minute.
This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Democrats flipped a Florida House seat on Wednesday in a district that includes President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate.
Emily Gregory beat her Republican rival in the special election by a narrow margin. The area went for Trump by 11 points in 2024, making the win a notable upset. Voter turnout stayed low amid the partial government shutdown. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Iran flatly denied U.S. claims of talks to end the war, calling reports of negotiations nothing but fake news amid ongoing tensions.
President Trump stated Iran wants to make a deal to stop the fighting, but Tehran's parliament speaker dismissed it outright. The White House downplayed speculation about any meetings in what they call a fluid situation. This comes as Trump postponed strikes on Iranian power plants. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Minnesota sued the Trump administration over access to evidence from federal officer shootings that killed 2 locals.
The state seeks records on incidents, including the deaths of Alex Preddy and Renee Good, to conduct its own review. Officials argue the cases demand independent investigation, free from federal control. The suit highlights ongoing clashes between state and federal authorities. Shelley White reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
Investigations continue regarding Air Canada pilots losing their lives in a fiery crash at New York's LaGuardia Airport when their plane collided with a firefighting truck right after landing.
The collision happened shortly after touchdown with 73 passengers and 4 crew aboard the flight from Toronto. Investigators note the runway safety system failed to alert anyone. 2 men on the truck also perished in the flames. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A deadly crash at LaGuardia Airport exposed a key flaw when the runway safety system gave no alert before the collision.
The National Transportation Safety Board leads the probe into why warnings failed during the Air Canada incident. Passengers escaped unharmed, but 5 people, including pilots, died. Officials review similar systems at other U.S. airports. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Long security lines plagued one major U.S. airport, stretching 4 hours amid the partial government shutdown.
Travelers faced massive delays at TSA checkpoints due to staff shortages from unpaid furloughs. The chaos pressures lawmakers to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Some lines snaked outside terminals, frustrating holiday rushes. Sharon Kender reporting.
Breonna Taylor's mother voiced fury on Wednesday as the DOJ moved to drop charges against 2 officers in her daughter's fatal raid.
Tamika Palmer called the decision confusing and maddening years after the 2020 shooting. Prosecutors cite insufficient evidence for trial in the botched warrant service. The family demands full accountability from federal authorities. Liam White reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Some of the best things in life come to those who wait, but we ain't waiting for shit. Radio Big.
Okay, here we go. 54 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date, because that's what we do. Back in 1951, the USAF Air Force flag gets approved. That was in 1951. Let's see. In 1971, the Benny Hill Show tops the TV ratings. And in 1994, talk show hostess Ricky Lake weds Rob Sussman. So there you go. That all happened back on the dates that I referenced. Oh, should I reference this one too? This one's pretty big. 1986, Geffen Records signs Guns N' Roses. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking. Let's talk about some celebrity birthdays going on today. Let's see. Diana Ross turns 82. Steven Tyler, 78. Vicki Lawrence turns 77. Martin Shore, 76. Marcus Allen, 66. Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing fame turns 66 as well. Kenny Chesney, 58. Amy Smart turns 50 today, and Keira Knightley turns 41. So there you go. That's some birthdays for you. Let's talk about some things you ought to know. Air travel in the U.S. is teetering on the edge of thanks to the government shutdown. And it's not just delays, it's potential shutdowns at airports themselves. The Transportation Security Administration says that staffing has taken a massive hit, with more than 480 officers quitting or calling out because they are not getting paid during the Department of Homeland Security shutdown. Some airports are seeing call-outs of over 40%. In places like Houston, nearly half of the staff didn't show up. That's turning security lines into full-blown endurance sports. We are talking the average wait times of 270 minutes at the major hubs. TSA leadership told Congress that the situation is now so bad that it may have to consolidate, which is a polite way of saying smaller airports could temporarily shut down because of there simply aren't enough agents to run security. Travelers are being told to show up at least 2 hours early, but at this point, that might get you halfway through the line. So there you go. What do you think? Definitely some interesting times as we are talking. So what do you think about the whole thing? I think it's a hot mess when it's all said and done, but I guess that's just kind of the way that the world works as we are talking. Okay, so today is the full opening day of Major League Baseball. Pirates versus the Mets, Rangers versus the Phillies, and the Diamondbacks versus the Dodgers. So there you go. And here's last night's winning Powerball numbers for the jackpot of $147 million. 7, 21, 55, 56. 64. Powerball was 26, and Power Play was 4. So there you go. If you need some words of wisdom for today, he who asks the question, he who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes, but he who does not ask questions remains a fool forever. And then if you need some words of advice for today, flatten pillow, but put it into the sun for about 30 minutes. Let it absorb the moisture and plump up your pillow. And that will take care of it. It won't be flattened anymore. Some things to think about, that is for sure. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me at the top of the hour, you're more than welcome on doing that. We'll be talking about the world of music and entertainment on that side of the house. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus, as he will be talking about the world of safety consulting, because that is what he does. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. That is for sure. So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. No, seriously, goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.